Do you want to become the best Kha'Zix player who single-handedly carries his teams to victory? Well, look no further, because in 13 minutes I will teach you everything about Kha'Zix to go from this to this. 100% guaranteed result, by the way. I am sure many of us know this famous quote from Socrates: the only true wisdom is in knowing Kha'Zix abilities well. And that's exactly what we are going to start with. First of all, Kha'Zix passive. When the enemy team loses sight of Kha'Zix, its next attack against enemy champion deals bonus magic damage and slows the target. For those who don't know how to proc this passive more than once during the fight, then one way is by using your ultimate, which gives you invisibility. Second way is by walking into unwarded bush or out of fog of war. Easy way how to understand if this passive is up or not is by paying attention if the Kha'Zix claws start glowing or not. If you enter the bush and claws doesn't start glowing, then it means it's warded. Now on to Kha'Zix's first ability, where he slashes with his claws dealing physical damage, and if the target is isolated then the damage is increased by 110%. If you are wondering which target is isolated, then it's the one who doesn't have no ally teammates, minions, nor turrets nearby. You can also tell if the enemy is isolated by the circle around them. If the circle is there, then he is isolated. If not, then it means someone or something is nearby. Now we have to talk about evolving. Evolving is basically like gaining a buff or additional effect to an ability. You can evolve one of your abilities each time you upgrade your ultimate. If you are going to evolve Reaper Claws, then this will increase basic attacks as well as Taste Their Fear's range, and if the target is isolated, then it refunds significant portion of Q's cooldown. Once I have explained all the abilities, I will share which abilities you should evolve and why. Now let's speak about Kha'Zix's second ability, which is Void Spike. This is where Kha'Zix fires spikes to deal physical damage while also partially healing itself if it is within the explosion. Not only does this ability provide excellent sustain throughout your early clears, but it also adds a great edge in 1v1s due to the healing factor that might catch your opponent off guard. It's also important to note that it is an AoE ability, which means it can be used to clear minion waves or hit multiple enemy champions when grouped. If you are going to evolve this ability, then it gives Kha'Zix 2 additional spikes, plus it reveals and slows the enemies. Third ability allows Kha'Zix to leap to a target area and deal physical damage. If you are going to evolve this ability, then it will significantly increase the range of leap, as well as its cooldown will get a reset when you get a takedown on enemy champion. Now onto the ultimate. We already covered the passive earlier, but the active part of the ultimate allows Kha'Zix to become invisible and gain movement speed for a short duration. This ability has 2 casts, so you can go invisible 2 times. It's worth knowing that once the first cast ends you have to wait a little, and then you can use the second cast. Another thing to know is that you can avoid unit collision while invisible. Once you evolve the ultimate, then it allows Kha'Zix to be invisible longer, and also it can be cast 3 times instead of 2. One interesting thing many players might not know is that you can use Void Assault to cancel some targeted abilities. Now let's talk about the evolving. There are many ways in which order you could evolve your abilities, but for the beginning there is this standard evolving order that is reliable for almost every situation. It is evolve Taste Their Fear first for the dueling power and faster jungle clears, evolved Leap second for skirmishes and helping to assassinate enemies, and then evolved Void Spike third, which allows you to potentially get picks on enemies, and it's also great for team fighting. I am sure you guys want to experiment evolving orders yourself that fits your own playstyle and build, but general advice how to decide what to go for is Q first if you want to be more efficient in dueling, clearing jungle camps, getting dragons quicker. Take W if you want great utility tool for making picks on enemies and for team fighting. Go for E if you want more mobility. It's also an amazing ability for ganking, gap closing, and team fighting. Evolve your ultimate if you want to make more outplays, execute better ganks, and also increase your survivability. This is how you should max the abilities. Q goes first, W second, and E last. As always, get a point in your ultimate whenever possible. As for the runes, there are 2 viable options for Kha'Zix. First one is the Electrocute, and the second one is Conqueror. You may ask, which one should you go with? Well, Electrocute is great keystone to get some extra burst damage and it's very reliable. You can proc it really easily and it is something I would suggest to use if you just started playing Kha'Zix. It is the go-to rune when you are facing team with squishy champions. When it comes to Conqueror, then this is especially good keystone against bruisers and tanks as it allows you to deal more damage over time. It is the best rune for dueling and when enemy is isolated you should almost always come out winning the 1v1s. For the secondary runes you should go with Brutal, that grants a flat damage bonus and a little bit of armor pen. Then Hunter Titan for some HP and tenacity because Kha'Zix is very squishy. Lastly Pathfinder, which in general is great for junglers as you will be able to impact the map more. Hunter Genius is viable option too. Best summoner spells for jungle Kha'Zix are Flash and Smite. If you are wondering which smite you should go with, then generally you should go for challenging smite if you are against strong dual champions like Xinjiao or Enga, as it gives some extra damage for 5 seconds. But other than that you should always go with chilling smite because it gives Kha'Zix some CC that his kit is lacking. This 2-second slow from chilling smite on enemy will give you opportunity to deal more damage with your Qs, gank lanes easier, and to chase down enemies. When it comes to items, then I would like to suggest 2 builds which will be used depending on your matchup and runes you picked. First is the assassin build if enemy team has lots of squishies that you can one-shot. This build goes with electrocute runes. I would like to say though, that the third item is situational where you should choose whether Mortal Reminder if enemy team has champions with healing abilities, or more of Malmortius if enemy has strong AP champion who can burst you down. Or you can go with an item that gives you some more survivability like Black Cleaver or Death's Dance. Second build is the Bruiser build, that goes better with the Conqueror rune we spoke about. This build works better against tanks and bruisers, but to be fair this build you can really go into every matchup. Third item is once again situational and you can fit there anything. For the boots go with Mercs if you are against a lot of AP, and or a lot of CC. Get plated steel caps against auto attack based champions like Jax, Tryndamere, and so on. For the boot enchantments I would suggest Stasis, or Protobelt, or Quicksilver. Stasis is in general great enchant that you can't go wrong with. But it is especially good against champions that can burst you down like Zed or Fizz. Protobelt is nice to get closer to enemy for your Qs, or in some cases to escape, or to dodge abilities. Quicksilver is something to consider if enemy has some hard CC to lock you down. Already when you are at the loading screen try to think which lanes are gankable. One easy way to find it out is by looking your matchup. Does your ally laner have CC? Does enemy have some sort of escaping ability like dash? If enemy doesn't have movement ability and your ally has CC, then this is the potential lane to gank for a kill. Why I am talking about this general jungling stuff is because Kha'Zix doesn't have almost any CC in the early game. Once the game starts, then ideally you want to make a 5 camp clear starting from the blue buff, then Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, red buff, and then go for a Scuttle. If you get the Scuttle, then you will be level 5 and can already unlock your ultimate and get one of your abilities evolved. If you are wondering why should you start blue side, then this is the healthiest clear as Kha'Zix is very weak at early levels against multi-camps like Raptors or Krugs. In case you have to start red side, then go for red, blue, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, and Scuttle. These 2 jungle clears are what you are ideally looking for if the lanes are even. In case there is an opportunity to gank, then definitely do that and after continue clearing. Most of the time first evolvement goes to Q, because then you can duel enemy jungler, and you can even start looking for getting a dragon if enemies are not around. With evolved Q Kha'Zix can easily solo a dragon as soon as it spawns. When it comes to ganking, then one important thing is to save your leap once enemies have used their flashes or escaping abilities. Typically if you use your leap to engage on enemy, then they will flash away and you won't be able to get to auto attack or Q range again. So it's better to walk up with whether your ultimate, from behind or from the side of the enemies, or another option to help you get to auto attack ranges by using chilling smite that slows the enemy. Really important thing to remember is not to waste your lead. In case you get kills and you have your first item, then this is not the time to power farm your jungle. What you should do instead is to look for kills and extend your lead even more by invading enemy jungle, taking their jungle camps, getting objectives, and so on. If you are not behind, then mid and late game is where Kha'Zix shines as he is getting closer to evolving 3 abilities. Mid and late game is also when more and more team fights start to occur. How to play Kha'Zix in team fights depends if you are fed, even, or behind. If you are fed, you wanna try to look for a one-shot on enemy backline, which is mostly enemy mid laner or ADC. In order to one-shot enemy backline you wanna wait for your frontline engagers to engage, and then you follow. Or if you have weak engage you wanna look for a flank where you go in either from the side, or from behind. In order to do it successfully use your ultimate for invisibility, get in range with your evolved W to slow the enemy backline, and then kill them. In case you are even, then you can either try to look for a flank and one-shot enemy backline, or you can stay together with your team and look for a pick using your evolved W. If you are behind, then you just wanna stay together with your team and use your W to slow enemy front line, so that your team has an easier time kiting the enemies. In case you are not team fighting, or enemy team fighting composition is better, then one way how you could still carry the games is by keeping eye on the map and having as much vision as possible. As soon as you see someone going solo to a side lane or to jungle, then this might be time for you to go in for a kill. We will start off with EQ combo, but the Q will be used mid-air. This is one of the mechanics every Kha'Zix player should master, because not only you will be able to make more damage per second, but also if it's a squishy enemy, then they have less time to damage you back or CC you. Next up we have the standard assassination combo. Start with landing your W, then make the EQ combo we just spoke about, and upon landing make an auto attack. This is a combo you will find yourself using in many situations, but it's especially useful against isolated targets. Now to make a full combo simply add ultimate, and one more auto attack. This is one of the ways how to use your full rotation of abilities, but a lot of can be changed once you start evolving his abilities. One trick with his evolved ability is called double jump, which can be done so that even before landing you can already cast the leap again. In order for that to work you have to know how to use mid-air Q, because once you jump on a low HP target, then you want to kill them with your Q mid-air, and right away cast your jump again once enemy is dead. You can also use smite mid-air to kill an enemy if you think it should deal enough damage. Same trick can be done using WEE combo. It is really great trick to know especially for a situation when enemies are together and someone is low HP. In some situations with this combo you can make a quick pick to jump in to get a kill, and jump out again. If you enjoyed this guide and would like to see similar guides on other champions, then check out this playlist on the screen right now. Bye guys.